Now I can breathe. All traffic has been averted and all family is arrived. So we can continue our program. Was the salad delicious? Yeah. Maybe I'll find out what I eat. Okay. So this part of the program tonight is a tribute to my grandmother. I explained the story about who she is and what she left us. She always said she might not have tons and tons of riches and houses to leave, but what she would leave was the belief in Christ and that God can do all things but fail. And my grandmother's faith was unyielding. You'll hear from 3 of her children in age order. We're going to have some fun on the interview. They all were not excited about this moment, especially my mother. So I don't know if you can tell who my mother is on this panel because I look like all of them.
We're all your mothers.
And yeah, see, it's starting already. So the disclaimer is you will understand why I'm a little touched
I was there at the birth.
Oh, here we go. We're not going to tell the birthing story. We're not going to tell the birthing story. But they will share that when they were growing up, they never remembered going to the doctor. Because when my grandmother prayed, she just believed that prayer and that was it. So they never went. I said, you never went to the doctor? But that's what my grandmother's faith was. When they bought their first home, she walked in with my grandfather. My uncle told the story because he was there. And he said that the bank officers looked at her and said, ma'am, we appreciate, you want to buy a house, and this is in Jamaica, West Indies, but you don't qualify. There's not enough income for you to get the house. And my uncle said, your grandmother looked them dead in the eye and said, God told me that I'm getting this house, and we're getting this house. And my grandfather was very uncomfortable because the people are saying you don't qualify. My grandmother sat in that chair for the entire day till she wore down the loan officer and they wrote up the papers and they bought their first home. That's the kind of faith that she operated in and that we all stand on. So this is really a tribute to being able to stand boldly in your faith. A lot of people told me, you shouldn't talk about God too much on all these platforms that you're on. People might not hire you. You might not get the big gigs. You might turn some people off. And I said, well, I can't tell people what to do or who to believe, but I won't deny my Christ. And who he has for me, he has for me. So if they don't hear my voice, they're not my people. So I'm going to walk according to what God gave me. He will open up the doors. He will make way. And he will put everything in its right place. So tonight, I get to celebrate with 3 of the women who literally, from birth, have watched me grow into the very young 20-something-year-old that I think I am. But sitting to my right is our new matriarch of our family, the eldest girl of my grandmother's lineage, and this is the beautiful Phyllis Black, my aunt. Sitting next to her is the gorgeous and talented and amazing Faye Roden, who gave birth to me. And sitting on the end is Trudy Lawson, who is the baby girl. She loves her position, and she talks about it all the time, all the way down from Albany, New York. So let's give her a round of applause. So let's get into the conversation. Now, 2 of them had speeches prepared, and they thought that now, I ruined the speech because we're doing an interview. Yeah, I tell all the business, right? And, my mom has been so concerned and holding me down through this whole process. And she calls me this morning, texts me, who told me to get my mother an iPhone? Pray for me. She texts me this morning, I know you like to push it, but there's traffic going to the city, so make sure you leave on time. Yes, Mommy. But that is the person who is like, she's the middle child, so she has a lot of organization that she received from Purnell. So I'm going to see, her sisters are like, she's the boss of everybody. Yeah. But it's a blessing to see how my grandmother and my grandfather show up in these women. And I want them to talk about their experience of faith with my grandmother and what tonight means for them. To be the bridge between the mother that gave birth to them and the daughter that they are now experiencing in this room. Yes, Aunt People, hold up the mic.
Well, hello there, everybody. It's so nice to see you all. Well, as she said, I'm the eldest girl.
And there are a lot of experiences that I had as the eldest girl with my mom. I saw her walk through some situations that I thought at the time, as a young girl, you know, was impossible. I remember there's one experience, and I can't remember it, but she told me, and after she did, I remember. I had a pain in my side, and I didn't know what it was, and I was crying, you know. I used to call my mother Ma P. But no, I'm not. Well, she used to call me Ma P. But I used to call her, what used to call Mama? I don't know what you used to call her. I remember.
This is reality TV.
Anyhow, I said to her, my side is hurting. And she says, what's wrong? And I said, I don't know, it's right here. So she says, let me pray for it. She got the oil, and she came, and she prayed for it. And I went to sleep. I got up in the middle of the night screaming. And when my mother came, there was like a bat on my side. A bat.
B-A-T?
B-A-T on my side. It was my appendix. Burst out on my side, okay? And she rubbed it with the oil, and she said it's going to be okay. I went to the doctor a couple of times and took x-rays, and they said, you got your appendix out? I said, no. They said, but you don't have an appendix in. I said, I realize that. I said, but God healed me. And they looked at me as if to say, oh God. I said, yeah, he did. My mother was a woman of faith. Yes. When I say faith, I mean faith. If she had a dime and someone walked in the house and wanted the dime, she would give them the dime. And right after she gives them the dime, there's 10 cents, 10 more dimes coming from all different places, because God always provides. Amen. Okay? It was 7 of us. I'm the eldest girl. I have a brother that's older than me. And my mother would take people in that she didn't know. There's one girl that lived with us. You know who that is, right? And her mother used to come to the house and sell us produce, you know. And one day the mother came and said to my mother, can you take, I'm not going to call her name, but can you take her? And my mother said, sure, she can live with me. I said, Ma, you're going to have her live with the 7 of us, and that and the like, really, you know. And she took her, raised her like her child. She is my 1, 2, 3, 4th sister, no, 5. Fifth sister, you know.
Sorry.
And it's okay?
Yeah,
sorry. So, those are the type of things that my mother did, you know. There was another situation that I remember. One more? Yeah. You sure? Okay. Well, you brought me up here to talk. Now she's shutting me up. Right? Okay.
I give 2 minutes of my time.
Pray for me.
She made me forget what I was going to say. It's not right.
It's all right. You'll remember it, or we'll come back. You'll come back? Yes.
Okay.
Can we get back?
That's what happens when you get to the stage. You forget. You got to say what you have to say.
Tell us how old you are.
I'm 78. Coming on. Okay? So, you know, you have to sort of say what you have to say, or else it just goes. But, and then it comes back, you know. But no, really, my mom was the sweetest person in the world. She really was the sweetest person in the world. And I love her dearly, and she loved her family. She loved each and every one of us. She didn't treat one different from the other. You know, you have family who treat this one. She never treated any of us different. She was just the best mother anyone could ever have. And I love her until, I mean, I love my mom.
And next, we're going to hear from the beautiful Pharaoh.
Good evening, everyone. Just hold it to your mouth. Okay, dear. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out. And I bless God for all of you who sponsored, helped with the function, you know, the Marriott, and everyone who contributed, and you know, that's here right now. And I want to thank God for my daughter, you know, for her, I mean, having the faith, you know, to put this weekend on. Because I have seen the struggle. I have seen the last minute when the Lord decided, okay, I'm going to show you his miracle. He's going to show her his miracle. And that's exactly what he did. You know, it's something to say you believe God. It's something to say you know God. But it's not just on the lips. You really have to have it in your heart. And you have to know for sure that God is real. Amen. And he proves it all the time. He doesn't have to prove himself. I mean, he loves us. And when he's our Father, he will do anything for us. We just have to trust him and do the right thing at all times. I thank God for my mother because she's the one that left that legacy for us. Because it's the best legacy that any parent could leave a child. To know that God is real. Amen. He's not fake, he's not phony. He's alive just like you and I are alive. He made us, so he's definitely going to make you better than himself. And he has got all powers, and he has the last say and final say in our lives. And once we know that, we've got everything. So I want to thank God. My mother, as my sister said, you know, she never took us to doctors. There were 7 of us, and all of us were healthy all along. Up until now, I'm 73 years old, and we are all healthy, never having a surgery, no major hospitalization. I mean, what can we say? God is good. And she taught us, because any of us got sick, she would find any oil, the coconut oil, anything. She just took the oil, she would anoint you, she prayed for you, and that was it. It was over. Because God is real. And when you come to him sincerely from the heart, he's going to answer your prayer. I see him do that for Sister Stacy that's sitting here, that's my daughter. And I'm telling you, when I see his work and his wonders for this particular program, it is unbelievable. I mean, she would have to tell her story, but I know what took place. And it's amazing what God can do. So we have to trust him, we have to believe him, because my mother passed it down, I passed it on to her. But it's one thing, you can take a child to the water, but they can't make them drink. But when they accept and know who God is for themselves, there's no better. Amen. No better. So, she doesn't want me to start preaching, so I will stop right
You
here.
can preach, but you know it's not.
I'll move on to my...
Can we give my mommy a round of applause? And I am blessed to have my mother still here, to have my mother have my back. This is my firmest support. Like my mother, I don't know what I would do without my mother. And there was a time, let me tell you the truth, y'all. I wrote in my journal that I couldn't stand my mother when I was a teenager. She found the journal. I was like, oh sweet Jesus, I'm sorry. But I'm like, every day I said, Lord, forgive me for anything that I wrote in that journal. Because I wanted to go far away to school, I wanted to get out of town. I'm like, I wasn't gonna drive me crazy. But if I didn't have my mother, I wouldn't be able to stand. So I just want you to give my mommy another round of applause. She is everything to me. And now, you're in for, oh boy, this is where you're gonna see where some of my personality comes from, praise Jesus. This is my aunt that still feels that she's 20-something, so I think we have that in common. She loves to have fun. And she literally was in the delivery room. I didn't tell him that. No, you can tell him that. Oh, Lord. Larissa, come get your mother. So, I just want to introduce Trudy Lawson, who is the baby girl of the family. But my auntie, that she calls me my goodness, her goodness, her gazada, her sweet plum. Give them all the names, auntie. Let's give her a round of applause.
Well, good evening, everyone. Or is it? It's evening. It's night. It's almost. It's nighttime, isn't it?
Yes.
It's nighttime. I just want to give a shout out to my daughter over there,
Who is my hairstylist. Shekinah Beauty in Albany, New York.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, good night, good evening, and all of that. There is so much to talk about my mom, as my sister said, and I'm almost 70. Hello. Yeah. I know we still got it going on. No. But, you know, being the knee baby and the rug rat, and, you know, I always people, because they seem so old, much older than me when I was growing up. And now it's almost like, we in our 70s, we got it going on. But, so there's a lot that I gleaned from them, and particularly from my mom. But I saw my mom, she literally walked faith before us. She didn't just talk it. It was visible, it was seen. I give you a story. My mother was, and this is recent, this is she was in her 80s. She was gonna buy this apartment, right? And didn't have the money. Again, she never really had a lot of money. But she was gonna get this apartment. So I happened to be at the house because everything that happened, I wanted to see it. I'm like, okay, I need to be there to visibly to see how God gonna do this. Because, you know, she's telling me stuff and I'm like, this don't sound real. This don't sound, this, you know, this is, but I wanted to be there. So this time here was I had the opportunity to literally be there. And I'm watching this, and she said, she's talking to the man on the phone. And this man's name, and I remember it clearly. She said, Mr. Campbell. She said, so you're saying that on Monday, now this is Saturday. And she says, now Monday you're wanting $7,500, some big money. Some big money. And she said, and when you want to meet me Monday at 10 o'clock? She said, okay, Mr. Campbell, I'll see you at 10 o'clock. When she hung the phone up, my mother fell out on the bed and she started laughing. I said, Mama, what's going on? She said, I don't have it. I said, but Mama, you tell the man, say you're going to meet him Monday morning at 10 o'clock. What do you mean you don't have the money? She said, Miss G, I don't have it. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna watch this very carefully because something is about to happen, and I know it. I know it's gonna happen. I don't know where it's gonna come from. Some money gonna float out in the window. Something is gonna happen, and I gotta watch this. And so there was a knock on the door. Are you surprised? No. Knock on the door. My sister, my other sister that's not here, walked in with her husband, and my mother started telling her the situation. And her husband said, but we just borrowed some money from the bank, and they actually brought this money with them. So we borrowed this money from the bank. He said, but Doreen, we don't need it. Handed my mother the exact amount of money that she needed. Now this is the kind, I mean, and this is fast forwarding to, you know, when she was in her 80s. But going back as growing up, when we got sick, all she needed to do was pray. And we didn't even worry about anything. We had all the childhood diseases that you can think of. We had chicken pox. She'd put us all in the same room. We all had the chicken pox together. When measles came around, whoever had measles, y'all go in the same room. Everybody gonna have the measles together. We had the what do you call it, the mumps. Everybody gonna have mumps together. So we all went through all our childhood illnesses together. That's how we're so close. I love my sisters. But all she needed to do was pray. If God did not come through, this is how serious it got. I remember, I think my other sister had rheumatic fever, or something was going on with her. And my father was so concerned, he wanted to take her to the hospital, because he didn't have the faith that she had. So he wanted, I mean, first thing, he got to take her to the doctor. And first of all, how we going to get to the doctor? Who gonna drive us, because we ain't got no car? Bus is gonna, you know, by the time she get to the hospital, she probably gonna be dead. But my mother, what she did was, she wasn't relying on no doctor. She went out to the lime tree and she said, you mean to tell me you're gonna really make him take her to the doctor? This is how she talked to God. You mean to tell me you're gonna really make him take her? And she said, my sister came out of the door running towards her. Mama, mama, mama. And she looked and she said, thank you, Jesus. And she went back in the house. There was no need for no doctor. There was no need to call no doctor. But this is her faith.
That deserves a clap.
If anything happened to us, I don't care where we were. I went to school in Portland, Oregon. If I was there, I just knew, I just needed to know that my mother knew what was going on with me. Mama, this is hurting. Mama, this is going on. She said, okay, Miss G, everything's going to be okay. And as long as she knew, then I was fine. And I knew it would be taken care of because she was going straight to him. She took it straight to him. So we have examples. And I remember my daughter, she was about 3-4 years old. I got the mic. She was about 3-4 years old. And I remember Miss had an earache, and she went to a sleepover. The parent brought her back literally in her arms and brought her up, and she said, but she didn't want to take an aspirin or anything, and she really has a fever. I said, no problem. I said, I got it. Took her to my bed, lay her down, and said, everything's gonna be okay. Went downstairs. By the time I got downstairs, it wasn't more than 10 minutes because I said, remember Elijah? See, I'm gonna pull something out. Elijah said, when he was crossing the Jordan, right? Y'all remember that story? He says, where is the God of Elijah? Right? So when my daughter got sick, I said, where is the God of my mother? Because see, I didn't have the faith like she did, but I knew that my mother was here. This is what she would do. She would pray, and she would trust God. She would believe. I didn't know what was going on with my daughter, but I said, where's the God of my mother? See, I went straight there. I mean, I'm saying, she trusts in you. I'm going to reach out and use her, and please answer prayers through her for me. And my daughter came running down the stairs, and I said, is your ears okay? And I started pushing my finger in her ears, and she said, I'm fine, Mommy. No, it don't hurt. It don't hurt. And I said, thank you, Jesus. Because I didn't have the money at that point to take her to no doctor. And I wanted to trust God like my mother trusted God for me. And what I saw growing up, I said, if God can do it for her, He can do it for me. And that's the legacy, and that's what I hold on to till today. And if it wasn't for my mother, I would not have the faith that I have in Jesus Christ today. I would not have it. I watched her. I saw her I heard her prayers. I watched her life. And that's what made me who I am today. So thank you very much, and I'm going to shut up now. I know you all touching me.
Can we give my mom and my aunts a round of applause? I just wanted to give you a glimpse of who I am, the stock that I come from, and the fact that I don't talk about it, I live it. And applied faith is what I've learned, is what I've seen. These are 3 of the women who have poured into me. All of my aunts and uncles have spoiled me. Yes. I'll admit it publicly, finally. Yes, right. But you can't spoil. Like that just doesn't sound right, Auntie. Like, you know, love. Right, love. And they have been there through it all, growing up, getting married, having children, starting this business. Sometimes they don't know what I was doing, but they were like, just bless her, Jesus. And I couldn't do it without my family, the love of my family. And I want to acknowledge my big cousin. We fight over who was really number 8 with my grandmother, but my grandmother loved her first 2 grandchildren. They happened to be the boys, but they were inseparable with grandma, just like I was. All of us can say the same thing because she wasn't partial. And she loved all of her children, all of her grandchildren, all of her great-grandchildren. But my big cuz, we grew up more like brother and sister, so he terrorized me. I don't think I'll tell that story tonight, cuz. But Christopher Black, let's give her a round of applause over there. You heard Larissa, which is my aunt's daughter. So Chris is Aunt Phyllis's youngest son. And Larissa is my Aunt G's baby, and she has an older son. And my little sister just went to take my nieces to the bathroom, right? But I'm introducing her. Okay. So I will do that later. And, you know, my poor husband and son have been working so much they need to get to go up to the room. But when you have a husband that can believe in you, that has your back, that's not intimidated by your power, that will take a bullet for you and give a bullet for you, you have to celebrate a man of God. So I'm so blessed to have my husband who has seen me go through it. And all he does is shake his head. He's like, God keep taking you through, so we just go watch and wait for what happens next. And he acts like he's not concerned or nervous, but I know on the inside, I think he lost some weight through this whole Faithpreneur weekend process. But I'm just so grateful for him. My youngest son, old man Jenkins, is over there on the Wheels and Steel. DJ J Bob, let's give it up for my baby. He just turned 15 on the 11th. And my oldest son, I told him to stay working because we're taking vacation and he can't lose hours. He needs his own money. So pray for him as he is still developing. He's at 20, about to be 21, and we've had an interesting walk. Anyone that's a parent knows they look cute in pictures and they grow up. But you have to love them through it. And I will always love him through it. That's my firstborn, and I love him. So let's give a shout out for Josiah, even though he's not here. We're going to turn on some music. We're going to change the set.
And before you turn on the music, her husband was given to her by God. Okay, we didn't mention that, but God is the one who gave her the husband she has. That's why they're so perfect together. And people wonder what for that. Because they keep God in the midst. So there is no separation. And it's a beautiful, beautiful son-in-law.
Sometimes I wonder if she gave birth to him. She loves him so much.
So the single women out there probably saying, so where are the rest of the men?
Their Boaz is coming. And then we're going to have a special treat. I do a program called Platform Ready VIPs. And it's an opportunity for people who want to really develop their story, expand their platform, and really find who they're created to serve. Because not everybody's going to hear your voice, not everybody is going to understand your mission, but when you find them, they will hear you, and they will be a part of your tribe and support you. So I've had some amazing women. It would happen to be a cohort of all women this time in June, and you're going to hear from them throughout the weekend, but tonight we're going to hear from a few of them, and we're going to have a great time while we transition into the award segment. My baby sister has come in the room with my two beautiful nieces. She missed her applause, so Danielle, stand up. She's very shy. Well, watch this, Madison and Ariel. Come say hi to everybody. See, they're not shy. They're here for the lights, the camera, and the action. Come on, auntie. Just stand in front. You don't have to come. Okay, they're coming up. So I had two boys, and she had two girls. So these are auntie's babies, and this is the reason to pass on to the next generation, so they can stand as strong women of God and know what faith is. These are my babies. So DJ J-Vibe, we're going to change the set so we can have our commercial. They're going to serve dinner, and then we're going to move forward with our program. We have a special treat for you at the end of the night, so you're going to have a good time. We're going to have some music and a special performance, so I'm really excited about that. So thank you, DJ J-Vibe. Let's give it up for my aunt and my mother again.